Hello, my name's Oliver and I'm going to tell you a story for the Stafford Knott Storytelling Club. And the story is called Mihrimah and Sinan. Bir varmış, bir yokmuş. That's how a story starts in Turkey. What does it mean? It's their way of saying once upon a time, though literally it means once there was, once there wasn't. So you never quite know whether a story you're being told is meant to be true or made up. Go back in time 500 years, half a millennium. In England we had the Tudors as kings, Henry VII, Henry VIII, men of immense wealth, riches, land, property, castles, towers and so on. But look to the east, go to the far side of the Mediterranean and you'll find a ruler who far outweighs them, to whom in comparison Henry VIII would be a pauper. I'm thinking of a particular man, a sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and his name was rightly called Suleiman the Magnificent. His empire stretched from Vienna, where he besieged for many years, right down to Egypt, swathes of North Africa, Iraq, modern-day Syria, the Balkans, Romania, Bulgaria, Greece. All that was part of this immense Ottoman Empire, which lasted for 500 years. The Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent had a daughter. Her name was Mihrimah. Now, when she was 17, it was time for her to be married, and a husband was chosen for her. She didn't have any choice in the matter. His name was Rustam Pasha. He was already a governor of a province, a very wealthy and powerful man. And he went on to be the Grand Vizier, the right-hand man of the Sultan himself. Now let me introduce a third character. And his name was Sinan, or Mimar Sinan, Sinan the architect. Now, Sinan saw Mihrimah only once and fell in love, totally head over heels in love. You might think I'm telling you about a teenage crush. No, Sinan was 50 years old, an established great architect, the greatest architect of the whole Ottoman history, one of the greatest architects of all time. They called him the Michelangelo of the East. But he was 50 years old. 50 years old, a man of great experience. Now, Sinan felt this inexpressible, powerful, unget-riddable feeling of love. What was he to do? He was head over heels. He couldn't express it. He couldn't go to Mihrimah and tell her. He knew he could easily seem totally absurd, that he'd become the laughingstock of the Ottoman Empire. And secondly, he feared the Sultan. Supposing the Sultan took offence. Now, although he was the Sultan's hired chief architect, he knew the Sultan was a man of whims. He could easily have him thrown in prison or executed. Terrible things could happen to you if you offended the Sultan. And then thirdly, he was afraid of Mihrimah's reaction. Supposing, as a teenage girl, she just giggled at the ridiculousness of Mihrimah. Imagine the humiliation of that. Well, how to deal with this dilemma, an unburdenable, impossible love that's got to be expressed but yet can't be expressed. He thought to himself, if I were a poet, then I would write the most memorable, beautiful verses full of rich, interesting, lovable metaphors, rather like the great poet Rumi, who was already famous in Turkey. He'd lived 200 years before. The great poet of love, Jalaluddin Mevlana Rumi. But then he said, I'm no poet. Then he thought to himself, if I were a musician, I would compose beautiful melodious tunes and songs in honour of Mihrimah, and I would hire a minstrel to go and play them and sing them below her bedroom in the palace. Nobody would know who wrote the songs, but at least they would have been expressed. But then, I'm no musician. If I were a really wealthy man, wealthy enough to give gifts to the daughter of a sultan which she would be pleased to receive, really wealthy, then I would do that. I would send mysterious packages of jewels and gold. She would never know who sent them, but at least my love would be expressed. Well, he thought about this for a long time. How could I express my love? And then it dawned on him, the obvious thing. I am an architect. Then I must express my love through my buildings. Now, if you go to Istanbul, there's a very famous landmark called Galata Tower. It was old even in Sinan's day. It has magnificent views over the Bosphorus and over this wonderful city of Istanbul. He built 2 mosques, one of them in Üsküdar, which is on the Asian side of Istanbul, on the far side of the Bosphorus, and one of them in Edirne Kapı, and that's in the European side of Istanbul. Now, if you go to the Galata Tower on one particular day of the year, the 21st of March, and you wait till the end of the day, and you look to the west towards Edirne Kapı, you will see the sun set over a minaret of the mosque that he built. And at the very same time, if you turn your eyes to the east, you'll see the moon rise over a minaret of the mosque he built in Üsküdar. So the 21st of March, the sun rises, the sun sets, the moon rises in the 2 mosques that he built. The 21st of March, it's the equinox, a mysterious day, we know, because it's half daylight and half night time. But more, 21st of March was Mihrimah's birthday. More than that, the name Mihrimah in Persian means the sun and the moon. So that's how Sinan expressed his love. It was like a secret code that only he knew, or perhaps others. They say that if lovers go to the Galata Tower on the 21st of March and they want to know whether their love is forever, whether they have met their soulmate, and they wait till the end of the day and they look to the west and the east and they see the sun setting and the moon rising over the minarets of the 2 mosques that Sinan made, then they will know for sure. If they see them, if it's not a cloudy day, if it's a clear day, then they'll know that they are truly in love. Bir varmış, bir yokmuş. Is it true? Is it false? Who knows?